Giorgio Pisanò, Ferrara, January 30, 1924, Milan, October 17, 1997. Biography. Pisanò was born on January 30, 1924, in Ferrara to his father Luigi, an Apulian law graduate from San Vito dei Normanni who worked as a civil servant. In Ferrara during the 1920s, Luigi met and married Iolanda Cristiani, a local girl, while on duty in the local prefecture. Giorgio was the first of 5 children. His family moved from one city to another as prefecture officials, and he got his high school diploma in Taranto during the war era. World War Roman II, Min II. In 1942, at 18 years old, as an officer in the GIL, Pisanò commanded the search and rescue company trained to rescue the population during bombings. His father was later sent to the prefectures of Messina, Pescara, and Pistoia. The day after the armistice of Casabile, Giorgio was right in the Tuscan city, where, with other young men, he organized the reopening of the Casa del Fascio and the occupation of the abandoned Gavinana barracks, awaiting a German division. He soon volunteered for 20th Marine Infantry Division, asking to be part of the NP Nuotatori Paracadutisti, Marine paratroopers. His training was held in Jesolo, while the parachute launches were held in Tradate. Intending for intelligence collection behind enemy lines, he worked together with Pistoi's soldier Ryblas Bayagai. In 1944, he was sent on a mission over the Anglo-American lines and was parachuted near Rome. After completing the mission assigned to him, he was captured by the British Army while trying to return to northern Italy. Though not identified to be a fascist agent, he was nevertheless caught for movement into a war zone without permission and imprisoned for a month in Arezzo. After returning to northern Italy, Pisanò was decorated with the Iron Cross first and second class by the Abwehr and promoted twice for distinguished service, toward the end of the war serving in Valtellina as lieutenant of the 28th Ryblas Bloggy Black Brigade in Pistoia, assigned to special service of the general headquarters. On April 20, 1945, he reached Valtellina, where the Commission for the Final Defense of the Italian Social Republic, the Redato Alpino Repubblicano, was being organized, and on the 27th, he joined the column led by Major Renato Vanna of the Special Border Militia of the National Republican Guard, partaking in the events leading up to dissolution. He was taken prisoner by partisans on April 28, 1945 at Pont, and held in Sondrio prison, where he documented the executions by firing squad of his fellow prisoners there, which lasted until May 13, when the Carabinieri took the prisoners away from the pit. And from August 29 to October 26, 1945, he remained imprisoned in the Milanese prison of San Vito. He was then transferred to the Allied concentration camp R770 Terni and to Rimini, where he remained until November 1946. After his imprisonment ended, he went to Lucino to reunite with his family, now rebelled following the purging of his father. In order to help his family, he began smuggling between Italy and Switzerland. Pisanò rediscovered politics and came across his life profession, journalism. Post-war and political militancy. In 1947, Pisanò was among the founders of the Italian social movement in Como, becoming its first secretary. His professional activity would begin in 1948, when he would take the positions of editor and correspondent of the Meridiano d'Italia, a neo-fascist weekly managed by Franco de Agazio. It is with Meridiano d'Italia, with joint direction from Franco Maria Servillo, that Pisanò began to conduct research on post-war homicides carried out by the partisans, many of them linked to the mystery of the gold of Dongo. Pisanò was a National Council member of the Youth Students and Workers Group of the MSI in 1949. In 1951 he founded and held the office of First Lombardian President of the Student Association La Giovane Italia, which would merge in 1954 with Giovane Italia. Journalism and nonfiction writing. In 1954, now a professional journalist, he took a job at Aghi, a weekly periodical founded by Angelo Rizzoli and directed by Edilio Rusconi. In 1958, Pisano defended Rael Gaiani in the unsolved Fenaroli murder case, along with the Italcast scandal, which involved black funds to political parties and the granting of questionable loans uncovered in an investigation by the Bank of Italy. Rusconi, who in the meantime had founded Gent magazine, commissioned Pisano in 1960 to collect all the photographic and documentary material on the resistance for a report in a weekly to be published in installments. In the same year, he married Fanny Crespi, who bore him two children, Alessandra and Alberto. In 1963, Pisano founded the weekly Sakalo Roman 20th Century, in which he began to publish controversial news on burning issues. He would cause particular stir in the investigation he published on the mysterious death of the head of INI, Enrico Mattei. Alongside his journalistic writing in those years were his essays in historical nonfiction, with several texts about World War II and fascism during the RSI, such as Blood Calls Blood 1962, The Generation That Did Not Surrender 1964, History of Civil War in Italy 1943, 1945, 1960. He spoke at the conference of the Parco dei Principi Hotel in 1965 on the Revolutionary War on the basis of anti-communism. In 1968 he revived the weekly Candido, heir to the one founded by Giovannino Gareschi, and which had ceased publication in 1961, assuming the position of director, which he kept until 1992. Candido led many journalistic news campaigns, coming to openly denounce the socialist leader Giacomo Mancini. His protest against socialist leader Mancini culminated in being accused by Dino De Laurentiis for extortion in 1971 and his incarceration in Regina Coeli, where he spent 114 days before being acquitted of all charges by the Court of Rome on July 14 and released. On March 13, 1972, Pisano was a victim of the first attack on the part of the Red Brigades, followed by two others directed against Candido's editors and production facilities. Candido's 1980 ran a particularly virulent campaign aimed at demonstrating that behind the Aldo Moro there was an interweaving of the interests of shady persons connected to the Lockheed bribery scandals. In 1982, Pisano covered the death of banker Roberto Calvi, appearing on television with Calvi's bag, delivering it live to the director of TG2 of Area. Political activity and parliament. Pisano was elected senator in 1972 by the MSIDN in the Lombardy district. Re-elected to 5 consecutive terms 1976, 1979, 1983, and 1987 until 1992. He was a member of the Permanent Parliamentary Committee for Defense and Constitutional Affairs, the Parliamentary Committee of RAI Supervision, the Anti-Mafia Parliamentary Committee, and of the Parliamentary Committee of P2. From 1980 to 1994, he was city councillor of Cortina d'Ampezzo. A year after the 1988 death of Almirante, Pisano founded a communitarian faction within the MSIDN. After his exit from MSI on July 25, 1991, the faction became Movimento Fascismo e Libertà, with Pisano as national secretary. The party was the only party to expressly refer to fascism with the symbol itself, which included and highlighted in the center a beam of red, making explicit reference to the ideologies of the Italian Social Republic and the social right, such as corporatism, the socialization of the economy, monetary taxation, and nationalism. Contemporary trials for violation of the 1952 Selva law, which criminalized the defense of fascism, led to the acquittal of Pisano and other members of the party since, contrary to the offense identified by law, the party has advocated for a bicameral presidential republic with President of the Republic enjoying full powers and elected by the people instead of. The party elected some municipal councillors, especially in St. on the occasion of the 1992 general election. In the 1990s, Pisano returned to publishing, writing several texts about the Italian Social Republic. In 1995, after the Svolta di Fiaghi, when the Italian social movement made a turning point away from fascist symbolism to become a bona fide and legal force in politics, and the definitive transformation of the party into the national A. Pisano decided to associate with Pino Rauti in the conservation project of the historic Italian Right Party, which would have. A few months later, however, he left his political life due to his deteriorating health. Giorgio Pisanò died in Milan on October 17, 1997, after a long illness. Published works. Il vero volto della guerra civile. Documentario fotografico, Milano, Rusconi, 1961. Sang Chiamas Sang Milano, Pidola, 1962. La generazione che non si resa, Milano, Pidola, 1964. Giovanni Roman 23. La sua parola, la sua vita, la sua opera e la fotografia più bella. La prima biografia del Papa Santo, Cura di Milano FP 1965. Storia della guerra civile in Italia, 1943-1945, 3 vol. Milano FBE 1965-1966. Gli ultimi ingrigi vert. Storia del Forze Armate della Repubblica Social Italiana 1943-1945, 4 vol. Milano FBE 1967. Mussolini e gli ebrei, Milano FP 1967. Peninera. Storia e battaglie degli Alpini d'Italia, con Giambattista Lombai, 2 vol. Milano FBE 1968. L'altra faxia del pianeta P2. Testo integrale della relazione conclusiva di minoranza presentata al Parlamento dal rappresentante del MSIDN, Milano, e designi del nuovo candidato, 1984. All'omicidio Calvi nell'inchiesta del commissario P2 Giorgio Pisanò e nel deposizione della vedova. Con gli atti inediti del processo di Londra Milano J. 1985. Storia del fascismo 3 vol. Milano Paista 1988-1990. Il triangolo della morte. La politica della strage in Emilia durante dopo la guerra civile. Con Paolo Pisano, Milano, Murcia, 1992. Fonte Library ISBN 88-425-1157-9 Gli ultimi 5 secondi di Mussolini, Milano Il Saggiatore 1996. Fonte Library ISBN 88-358-350-2 Io, Fascista, Milano, Il Saggiatore 1997. Fonte Library ISBN 88-428-502-5